And welcome to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina, and we are excited to try something new today. But first things first, as you could tell, Mark was pretty excited about the game last night.
Well, no, first things really first. Jeff just got his second shot this morning, and if you see smoke coming out of it, it's because for the last hour he's said to me about 10 times, my arm is on fire. It is literally on fire.
I'm not trying to scare people. I'm not trying to make them worry. Usually when I get a shot, I don't even feel it. My arm feels like it is just covered in lava right now. Like it is. I am blown away at how hot my arm is.
But people they understand. They're not worried because they can tell you're a big wuss. So they're like, well, just because Jeff's arm's on fire. But no, like I came on yesterday. I gave my rant about how Gonzaga is not the best team in history, and everyone who thinks they are the best team in history is an idiot. And then they went out last night, and I even mentioned, I said, if they go lose by double digits, they're going to look like frauds. And they not only they lose by double digits, they were losing by double digits the whole game. Here's the thing to me that is just, as I wake up this morning, and I'm not running around like, I told you so, because we've all had these moments in life where, like, you're at a job and they hire someone new, and you're like, I can't believe they hired that person. That person's an idiot. And then time goes on, and it proves out to be true. Or like with women, one of their girlfriends will start dating a guy, and they'll be like, he's a loser. You want nothing to do with this guy. And then 6 months later, the girl's like, he's and their friends are like, I told you, like, I don't know how you didn't see it. We saw it. So as this happens last night, and these people, like, Gonzaga was a 4.5-point favorite, which I know people think Vegas sets the line. Vegas sets the line where they can get people on both sides of it. Like the country in general thought Gonzaga was better than Baylor. And I just, as I'm sitting there watching, I have no idea why no one else could see it. Because it's one thing when you're just willing to say something that everyone else knows, but they're afraid to say it out loud, like to say that the emperor is wearing no clothes. This was not what happened last night. The world really thought that Gonzaga was the best team in the country, and and not only some people thought they might be the best team of all time, and I am mesmerized why people thought that, especially after the UCLA game, and now anyone who thought that going into last night, anyone who uttered the words Gonzaga may be the best team of all time should never, ever get to speak about college basketball again. Or if they do, at the end of their statement, they should, like if they say next year, I think the Big Ten is going to be very good, but they should end every sentence with, but I have no idea what I'm talking about. And as long as they do that, then I'll be fine. I just can't believe that it was so clear to me. I have no idea why no one else could see it.
Well, you and I had said I thought Baylor was the best team in the country for the last 2 months. Defensively, they were fantastic again last night. This is where you and I disagree. Just because Gonzaga lost last night, it doesn't mean they weren't the second best team in the country. So I agree with you in the sense that people who thought Gonzaga might be the greatest team of all time, I agree with you. Like that was hyperbolic. Like it didn't make a ton of sense at the time when they were saying it. But this idea of like them being frauds, I completely disagree with. They just happen to be the second best team in the country in a year where I had said to you already before, I think Baylor was the best defensive college team that I had seen in my 15 years of like adult life watching college basketball. I don't like, and here's the thing. Gonzaga is so good offensively and they score enough points that some people are going to look at the score and be like, boy, like, you know, Baylor. If you watch the way Baylor switches, the way they rotate, the way they move, like it is impossible to consistently score against Baylor. The first 4.5 minutes, Gonzaga found out real quick, like this is going to be hard. They only gave up a free throw in the first stanza of the game. I mean, Baylor's defense and what they did, this is more about Baylor being unbelievably good defensively than it is about Gonzaga being a fraud.
Okay, but here's the thing. And just because Gonzaga made it to the national championship game doesn't necessarily mean that they're the second best team in the country. Like, what if they would have played a Big Ten schedule? What if the other thing that I saw, and then we'll get off this because we've talked about basketball plenty, but like the one kid got hurt, the best player. What's his name? The point guard.
Suggs.
Suggs got hurt playing against UCLA a little bit. Timmy got hurt last night. If you were in a real conference with like men, like the Big 12 and the Big 10. And like these guys would get beat up throughout the course of the season. They're not playing Pepperdine. They're not playing surfers all year who are like, oh, let's go play and then we'll surf and then we saw, whatever. So like the physical toll, if they would have gone through, no one talked about Baylor being the best team in college basketball history. And if Gonzaga had played a real schedule and was in a real conference, no one would talk about them being the best team in college basketball history. They would have been a 3 or a 4 seed. They would have been a top 10 team. No doubt about it. Are they as good as Michigan? I don't know. Are they as good as Illinois? I don't know. Illinois lost in the second round, but
I understand what you're saying. There's no way to measure it. I would say they were the second best team in the country. To your point, you saying no one talked about Baylor being the best team ever. I mean, I'm sitting here saying they're the best defensive team in almost 2 decades, which is that's as close as you're going to get to like best team ever kind of stuff. So
I get it, but they lost a couple games and people, this is what I say, me and you with your burning arm and like the next 3 people that comment on the show, we could go out and drop 75 on Gonzaga because they just can't guard anyone. That's what I'd say.
Jeopardy is looking for a new host after the passing of Alex Trebek, and there is a movement on social media right now that LeVar Burton should be the next host. I personally remember him from Reading Rainbow. More people remember him from, and I hope I'm getting this right, Star Trek. And so I'll be honest with you. To me, like if he wants a job, I think it's a no-brainer.
I do too. And we were thinking about up until this morning when I heard this, I'd never thought of one. And we've watched it religiously. And we watched Katie Couric did it. The old Ken Jennings did it. Right. Dr. Oz did it. Aaron Rodgers is on this week. And I thought Aaron Rodgers was actually a little bit funny. I think Rodgers, I was impressed with Rodgers. I don't think any of them been that good. And they're so stiff and they're so, not that Alex was a jokester, but I'm just shocked that they haven't had somebody with a little more personality and some pizzazz. And but yeah, like for the stoic character, LeVar Burton is great. I remember LeVar Burton was in the original Roots. He was Kunta Kinte. Yes. And that's where he kind of burst. And I didn't know he's born in France, I think. He went to Drexel, so good old PA school. And but yeah, he's like, I want to say 64, 65 now. And when you look at the stoic people to take over, he would be great. And he is lobbying for it. Like he wants it.
Yeah. I think it's a no-brainer to me. I think I remember when Drew Carey took over for The Price is Right. And I loved Whose Line Is It Anyway? I loved the Drew Carey show. I thought Drew Carey was one of the most like charismatic, on the spot, on his feet type of person. And you could see like that first like couple of months when Drew Carey took over for The Price is Right, it looked like someone was trying to stay above water. And the point I'm making is like this stuff isn't easy. Like you think you're just going to bring somebody on and they'll ask some questions and they'll make some one-line jokes here or there. And what happens, like people get up there and like you said, the people that have tried for Jeopardy, like it's hard. It is not easy to fill the shoes of a Bob Parker, of an Alex Trebek, whatever show I remember when it was a bit like, I read a book about Johnny Carson stepping away and like them trying like, how is anybody ever going to be able to replace Johnny Carson on a late night show? And it's just not easy. I think someone like LeVar Burton kind of like eases that burden because to your point, like that stoic identity, he kind of covers all grounds from the Reading Rainbow to Star Trek to being Kunta Kinte. Like, I just think he checks a lot of boxes. And to me, he'd pick it up pretty, I don't want to say easily because it's not easy, but he would run with the ball faster than what most people would.
Speaking of running with the ball or throwing the ball, Aaron Rodgers last night, I think last night was his first one. He asked a question and nobody buzzed in. And he gave the answer. And he goes, yeah, I'd never heard of that either. And it was just like, those are the things that when you're watching it, and especially when you're watching it not alone, that you look at your people like, I never heard of that. I never did. And so Rodgers he was not terrible. Rodgers is not terrible at it. And if he did it a bunch, he might be pretty good. And what's funny too is the guy that won last night is a graduate of Cal, and that's where Rodgers went. So he had the guy told him, and Aaron's like, hey, go Bears. So that was kind of funny too.
Nice. Do you want to walk us through why everyone's here, the prize wheel we're about to spin?
Well, yes. And on the backside, we're going to go to trivia with John Mackey, and this is going to be a Tuesday feature we have. And starting on Tuesdays, that's why everyone's going to come, because we're going to have some fun with this. But we are spinning the wheel again. Yesterday, we gave away a $50 Wise gift card. We want to thank Wise Markets for being our midday show sponsor. We have other sponsors on the wheel, too. We have Eat and Run. We have the Moon and Raven. We have the break room. I almost called it the break house. I was like, what is a break house? And we have 3 Wise gift cards, and we spin this every day. So all you got to do is join the Midday Show group. Go to Facebook, join the Midday Show, and then every day the computer will spit one out, and we have a winner, and the winner gets a T-shirt and a chance to win more.
Perfect. Our random winner today from the Midday Show Facebook group is Jill Ladine. Ladine? Is it? It can't be Ladine. Ladine. What's your guess?
When you said Ladine, I thought that looked right. Ladine would be wouldn't there have to be some of those accent marks or I don't know.
Usually when an E is on the end, it's there for a reason.
I would have a tough time arguing with that. Ladine. I would go with Ladine, but I'm just guessing.
Right. Jill Ladine, here's your prize wheel spin.
And if you lose, blame Jeff.
Oh, empty slot. T-shirt coming Jill's way. Can't get 2 in a row. I just can't get on a streak.
No, you're not. You know who was on a streak? Baylor. All right, next.
So as you said, walk them through just quickly, 20 seconds, and then we'll bring John on. We're going to start doing Quizzo every Tuesday.
Well, if you've lived under a rock, you know that you've never been in a bar where they're doing trivia, and it has become, I would say, over the last 10 years, maybe 15 years, maybe I'm wrong on that, but not just here, but nationwide. I have a buddy in Baltimore who's a DJ who does trivia all the time, and so it's one of the neat things in bars that people bring their teams and they have the same. Like they're at a certain restaurant every Monday night and then every Thursday night, and people, depending on what town you are, what kind of bar you like to go to, a bar, restaurant. And John Mackey is like the Quizzo founder, legend, whatever of this area. And he got in touch with us. He's like, hey, we could do some good things and we can have some fun with this. So we're going to do this every Tuesday here for a while. John is going to grill us with questions, and we are going to show our collective brilliance and or ignorance depending on the topic.
Yes, so we'll try to make this transition as smooth as possible. I can't make any promises, but let's welcome John in for our first ever Quizzo on the Midday Show. Oh, I got you, John. One more thing. And now we should be able... Oh, John, you have to unmute your mic.
There we go.
Now we're ready to roll.
And I want to say, we did this yesterday, and we got it all worked out. And the other thing I want to say is we did a practice run. We were given 5 questions. We got them all right. I'm not making this up. And at the end, John said, you two may be the smartest people I've ever met.
I believe I said something to that effect, yes. Those were
we did. Yesterday, we were 5 for 5. In batting practice, we were 5 for 5. So today we go 0 for 5. We're not that dumb.
I don't think you're going to go 0 for 5. My hope is that you don't go 5 for 5, though, because then I'm not doing my job, I don't think. So just real quick, I tend to agree with Mark a little bit on that basketball game last night, but I want to know, do you guys put any weight on Corey Kispert's performance last night? I mean, they have him as like a top 10 draft pick. I just didn't see it last night.
We talked about that yesterday. Jeff thinks he's a great shooter and he's got a spot in the league. I think he's got a spot in Europe.
Yeah, okay.
No, right. At his size, you shoot it like that, they're going to find a spot for you.
Right.
It is what it is.
Okay. Well, listen, I mean, we're here to play Quizzo. So again, what we're going to do here is we're going to ask 5 questions. I'll give you the category before each question. Actually, on this first question, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint as well, but not too many hints because I want to see how smart you guys really are. So this first question is going to be in the technology category. And that question is, what year did Steve Jobs introduce the original iPhone? And your hint for this question is it's the same year that Martin Scorsese won his only Oscar for directing a movie. That's your hint.
Ooh. Ooh. See, I didn't have the original iPhone. Did you?
No. And what did Scorsese win for? Did he win for The Departed? I mean, I'm thinking the original iPhone. Oh, I was gonna say 03, 04, 05, something like that. That's my gut. Technology is your field, though. This is not me.
I'm gonna say it had to be before 05. I feel like I had cousins who had the iPhone before I had graduated high school. So I like when you said 03, I kind of, like that resonated with me.
I would have a better chance of getting the Scorsese. I think The Departed is his one. I think that's what he won for. Okay, we'll go 03. Sounds good.
2003. Okay. Well, you guys would be incorrect.
Oh, I thought you were agreeing. Okay.
So, well, here's the deal. You had it. You were onto it. What year was The Departed released? It was released in 2006, but as we all know, the Oscars are awarded a year after that in January. So he won in 2007, which is when the iPhone was.
Oh, I would not. I thought the iPhone was sooner than that. I got so I feel like this is in school. See, Jeff, when you were a teacher, this is when the kid's coming up saying, Mr. Everett, can I get half credit? I knew The Departed.
This is the great thing about Quizzo, right? When you're playing in a bar, somebody like Mark says, well, I think what's the movie that he won an Oscar for? The Departed. And then you start building your answer around that. That's how you become a successful trivia team.
See, I'm mad at myself because I knew the iPhone 10 wasn't the 10th iPhone. It was the 10th year. And I knew the iPhone 10 came out in 2017. And if I would have done the math, I would have figured out that it was 2007. So I'm actually really upset at myself right now.
So basically, John, just to go back to your point, my teammate just choked because he knew the answer and didn't say it.
I did. I literally just walked you through the process. I choked on that one. I should have done that.
So here, Jeff, let me help you out. The next time he asks a question, wait till he gives us the answer and then tell us how you knew that. That'll be great for our team. Good.
Got it.
All right. So the second question, we're going with geography. All right. I want you guys to tell me, what is the tallest man-made monument in the Western Hemisphere? Now, for those of us playing along at home, the Western Hemisphere would fall between longitudes 20 degrees west and 160 degrees east. And make that easier for you, that's basically North and South America.
Yeah, okay? I do that.
So I've narrowed it down to half the plane for you. I've narrowed it down to half the plane.
Does it have to do with like the international date line that runs through Liverpool? Is that or doesn't it? Does it go through the ocean?
We're talking about longitudinal degrees here. So again, the tallest man-made monument in the Western Hemisphere, and we've already narrowed it down. It's going to be in either North or South America.
If there's one in South America, I have no idea. I know for a while the Sears Tower was the tallest one in North America.
Well,
I think that's in Chicago.
That would be a skyscraper. We're looking for a monument here. So,
what's the difference?
Well, a skyscraper is a building. A monument, let's say, would be like the Washington Monument, which is not the correct answer.
There is a religious monument in Brazil.
Yeah, the Jesus.
I don't know what it's called.
It's called Christ the Redeemer. But is that, that might be it, because that's like one of the wonders of the modern world. It's up on a cliff. Mm-hmm. Is it taller than the Statue of Liberty?
I don't know.
How tall is the Statue of Liberty? I mean, that's a good guess. Let's go with that. The Christ the Redeemer in Buenos Aires or Rio de Janeiro, wherever it is.
So we're going with Christ the Redeemer as your final answer. That would also be wrong. While it is up on a mountain, I don't think the statue itself is very tall.
Okay.
The tallest man-made monument in the Western Hemisphere, actually one of the first sites that you see in National Lampoon's Vacation, would be the Gateway Arch, also known as the St. Louis Arch, in Missouri.
That would make
sense. That's not a monument, it's an arch.
It's an arch-like monument. So, all right, we are 0 for 2.
Oh, my goodness.
That makes sense. I think ours was more worldly.
This next question, I've mashed 2 categories together. We're going with chemistry and vocabulary. Yeah? All right. So, in a chemistry lab, this 6-letter device is used for distillation of substances. It can also mean a sharp, angry, or witty reply. Again, distillation, as we all remember from chemistry, is the process of purifying liquid by heating and cooling it, right? So in chemistry, in a chemistry lab, this 6-letter device is used for distillation of substances. It can also mean a sharp, angry, or witty reply, and it's 6 letters long.
Jeffrey?
I don't know it.
The chemistry one, like I suck at science. The sharp, angry, witty reply. I should know that. I don't even have a good guess, so I could sit here and stall, and I'm anxious to hear the answer here because as soon as you're going to say it, I'm going to think I should have known it.
I'm anxious too. The word flask keeps going in my head, and that's not even 6 letters.
Okay. Well, I would say one of the best uses of this word as a sharp, witty reply would have been in Pulp Fiction, when Samuel L. Jackson says, well, allow me to retort, R-E-T-O-R-T, a retort.
You should be embarrassed because that's a Pulp Fiction reference, and all I do is get yelled at about how Pulp Fiction is the greatest cinema adventure of all time.
I have never said it is the greatest of all time. I just think that you should be embarrassed that you've never seen it.
No.
Retort? I did not know retort was a chemistry. Like retort makes sense, but
chemistry lab equipment. Yes.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I didn't either. All right. But let me take this moment here to thank our sponsors, Wise Market, and remind people that yesterday in the practice episode we were 5 for 5.
They were. I will attest to that. All right. Well, the next question number 4, is in the entertainment category. And that question is late night.
The Departed.
What's that?
The Departed. How did I do?
Well, you got The Departed as his Oscar winner.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
Late night host Jimmy Kimmel has a long-running, albeit very manufactured, feud with what actor?
Jeff, do you know this one? I'll give you a shot.
I do know this one.
I know this one too. So this is why our team sucks.
And he was actually in The Departed, so you weren't completely wrong.
This is why our team sucks. Like, you need to balance. We don't know. Then we finally know one, and we both know it. So I think this is Matt Damon.
Yes.
You are correct, Matt Damon. And
on the board.
The older people on this broadcast would remember Jimmy Kimmel from The Man Show, not so much as a late night host, but a show that could not be aired in today's time.
Probably not.
All right. So last question. You guys got
here. Before we get to the last question, why don't we do this? You're back now that one of the things that's happened in the world, you are one of the people that really got squished by COVID because your business is in bars. And as bars shut down and then even reopened and had restricted seating, I know you told me you did some online virtual trivia. My buddy in Baltimore, who I told you about that did some virtual trivia. But now you're kind of, as the world is opening back up, you're back in the groove. So why don't you, where are you going to be in our greater area coming up soon?
Yeah, well, actually, it's great that we're doing this today because tonight, for the first time since I believe the second shutdown in December, I'll be back at the Bullfrog Brewery tonight at 9:00. That is the place where this all started. I started doing this at the Bullfrog this will be my 15th year now, believe it or not. So we're at the Bullfrog tonight, 9 o'clock, back in action. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'll be at the Rusty Rail in Mifflinburg at 6:30 if you're in the Mifflinburg area. And then I drive back to Williamsport, and I'll be at the Brickyard at 9 o'clock. Now, that's pretty much it for the live stuff right now. I am, as Mark said, I'm available. I do a lot of stuff on Zoom. So, if you're looking for something to do with your family and friends on the weekend, Zoom Quizzo, great thing to do. And you can check me out on Quizzo or on Facebook, John Mackey's Quizzo on Facebook. That's where I make all my announcements and whatnot. So, but yeah,
you would assume as the world opens back up, probably like by next fall, you'll be in many more places and back to working 5 days a week.
Yeah, before the pandemic, we were in 15 different locations. So, we're slowly but surely we'll get back to that number, I hope, for sure.
And just to clarify, so 15 years ago at the Brickyard, you were the drunk guy sitting at the bar just yelling out questions, and people were answering.
It was the Bullfrog.
You've become much more sophisticated since then.
Yes, much more sophisticated. I think the first night I ever did it, I was using a guitar amp and a microphone. Half the place couldn't hear me. I think I was so nervous, I spilled my drink all over my questions. I've come a long way since then.
All right, well, one more. Now that we're on a roll, we know Matt Damon.
Yes.
Bring the last one. We
all
are
right,
ready.
So we're going to go with a sports question here. All right. So if we've been paying attention, we just saw the Jets trade Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers. Okay. He was the number 3 overall pick in the 2018 draft, played at USC. USC has had 25 quarterbacks drafted into the NFL. Only one of them was taken with the number 1 overall pick. Who was that?
Well, the one that immediately comes to mind is Leinart, because I know Leinart went high. Who took Leinart? Was Leinart first? Because Leinart was the year of Reggie Bush and the because didn't Houston take the defensive end and everyone went crazy because they thought that was the Vince Young year. What year was Leinart? Was it Carson? What the heck is his name?
Palmer.
Carson Palmer. Yes, it could have been Carson Palmer. Was it Carson Palmer? It was either Leinart or Palmer. I'm going to go with Carson Palmer.
Good job, teammate.
Is that it? Carson Palmer.
You're agreeing with this, I take it, Jeff.
Listen, I'm not going to disrupt that flow of thought, so I'll just roll with them.
I was really enjoying watching that whole thing unfold in Mark's brain. Yes, but yes,
I enjoyed it too. If I'm right, if I'm wrong, then we're going to delete this whole segment.
And you were correct. It was Carson Palmer, drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes. So yeah, two out of 5. That's not terrible for the first real Trivia Tuesday.
Because we were 5 for 5 yesterday, and we were answering questions before he could even get the whole thing out. And what's funny, if we could have Carson Palmer on today, you would think being drafted first overall is like this historic, wonderful day in his life. But when you're drafted by the Bengals, it is a horrible day in your life. And so that's feast and famine all at the same time. He probably walked up to the podium with tears rolling down his cheeks.
I mean, it could have been the Browns, but you're right. The Bengals just about.
Or the Jets. Could have been the Jets. Speaking of Sam Darnold. So there we go. Carson Palmer. And it's funny because there's a kid in Little League that's the only last name I could think of. And I knew it wasn't Carson Minnie, but that's the name that kept coming to my head because he's like a 7th grader at Montoursville. But I was like, I knew the guy's first name was Carson. I couldn't think of it. So, Jeff, thank you for the assist. The first assist of your life. That's why Jeff scored so many points in high school because he never passed the ball.
Phenomenal passer.
Whatever. You know who's not? A phenomenal passer?
Who?
Anyone on Gonzaga.
That's not true at all. Not even remotely close to being true. Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Hopefully people will start, getting back out and attending Quizzo. And we look forward to having you back on next Tuesday.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good day.
So, yeah, we're going to do this every Tuesday again. John, tonight he's at the Bullfrog. Tomorrow night he is at the Brickyard at 9. Before that, he is at the Rusty Rail in Mifflinburg at 6:30. So that's the schedule for the week if you're looking for things to do. And he'll go easier on you than he went on us. He was trying to put us in our place because we were so obnoxious and arrogant yesterday.
And don't forget, when you play in real life, you can have 6 people on your team. So much more brains, much more discussion. So yeah, but you got a good window into how it actually works. The debate, that's where it's at.
Well, here, before you go, I just want to, when you go to these places, there's regular teams that they show up every week and they bring it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I used to do a championship event. You can see the trophy right here. It's called the Quizzo Cup. And 5 out of the 6 years I did this event, the same team won 5 out of the 6 years. Team out of Lewisburg. They call themselves the Merkins. I'll let you look that up, what it is on the internet. I won't tell you what it is. But at any rate, yeah, we've got some serious teams. They come out every week and they take it real serious. So, it's a big thing. People enjoy it. We've created quite a community. I never thought that would happen, but there's quite a Quizzo community out there.
But it is a lot of fun. And if you just like trivia and you're with your friends and you can get the group, I would be great for the sports and entertainment. I'm like that Trivial Pursuit guy. You give me the arts and literature and the opera and stuff like that, and I am worthless. But, so if you build your team correctly and you have some fun with it and you get some varied interests, it really is a lot of fun. And it's free.
It is free. Yeah. Nobody charges you to play. There's prizes. Yeah. And what I like to say is everybody knows something. Right? So even if you've answered 1 or 2 questions a night, you've contributed, you've hung out with your friends for an hour and a half, it doesn't really get much better than that. So.
And it's not really, as Jeff can attest to this, it's not how many questions you know, it's how obnoxious you can be to your friends when you do know one.
Exactly. Yeah.
For sure.
That's it. Well, thanks, John. Again, we'll be doing this every Tuesday, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it, and we're going to prove how much we don't know and give people a chance to play along and test their knowledge and learn that retort is a chemistry tool, which who knew that?
Thanks, John.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good day.
Hey, we'll see you next week. Good job.
All right. So that was the first round ever. That was rough. 2 for 5.
That was like the 400 level classes. I mean, literally, we debated. He gave us 4, and he was going easy on us. We were just working on the technology of it, trying to get the flow. But there was only one that we actually even discussed yesterday. He would ask it, we were like, bang. And today he's given us. I took chemistry in high school. I never heard retort we did not have those. Maybe it's a new found piece of equipment. I don't know.
I'm not sure. And then I was really iffy on Western and Eastern Hemisphere. If he wouldn't have given us the hint, I would not have been able to really, I mean, I would have, you had hinted, we probably would have assumed it was North and South America, but I would not have been able to say for sure.
We're the West. The Far East, the Little League World Series, Taiwan is the Far East, we're the West. That's it. It's how it goes.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us in the Midday Show. Thanks to John Mackey and Quizzo. Again, he'll be back out and about, so be sure to check out the schedule for Quizzo moving forward. Join us on NorthcentralPa.com for all your local news and for things that are happening in your community. Join the Midday Show Facebook group in order to have a chance to win on the prize wheel that is behind me. Thank you to Weiss Markets for being our title sponsor, and we look forward to being back with you again tomorrow.
Depending on how Jeff's arm reacts to his shot, if you get an announcement on the page that says we're taking the day off, it's because Jeff can't do it. But we're hoping. We're thinking he's tough and he can pull through, but deep down we know he's not tough, so we're a little worried.
Just a little bit, but we will power through. So thanks again for watching the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina, and thanks for joining us on NorthcentralPA.com.
See you tomorrow.